pain, she had to have lost blood, no medical assistance. Like you said, she had to cut her own umbilical cord, no help passing, all the stuff that comes after. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, and as an adult, after a mother of three, I'm not sure that I would have been making good decisions. I don't believe.
At that point, I was looking at one of the latest articles. Did you know that at some point that she had named her baby?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. I failed to mention that. Yes, she refers to this baby as Annabelle.
Oh, wow.
And that came from her family. Her family's, they had released that when she's talking about the baby, she refers to it as Annabelle. And I don't know, do you know, Sarah, when it was when the family released that information?
No, I didn't even know that the family released it. I had seen a sentence that mentioned that police had broken her down during questioning, but I think that didn't relate to the name. I think that's when it related to her admitting to the burning. Mm-hmm. So it happens to be mentioned in the same sentence, but I don't have the part about the family.
Okay, I just was curious.
To wonder how the family approached her and the whole thing at all.
But I could just, I think about those parents, and they don't like what happened, but they still love their daughter. Unconditional love is really going to be what is going to sustain them through this whole thing.
And it does sound like that they're supporting, that they are supporting their daughter. And, because as parents, they're probably, going, where did we go wrong? Did we put this pressure on her? Because, that was one of the things that she did not want her parents to be unhappy with her. Yeah. And so,
I'm very fascinated about two things. One thing we haven't mentioned was how she had contemplated abortion, but by the time she did, it was considered too late.
Yes.
Oh,
so she did look for other avenues, but then she wasn't able. I mean, and
that makes sense. So it makes sense. That's why she can't make up her mind. She can't make a decision. So it all falls into place.
She made decisions, but they wouldn't let her have the abortion, Jerry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Oh, okay.
She went and tried to seek out an abortion, but she was too late. By the time she found out she was pregnant, it was past the point where she could have an abortion, and they wouldn't let her. And I mean, she from the beginning did not want the baby. And
maybe that was the part about the whole eating disorder that you mentioned, how someone struggling with an issue might have maybe their period stopped for another reason, for example. Mm-hmm. So someone could not be alerted that they were really pregnant. So if she found out late in the game of being pregnant, and then had
early
labor, that sounds like a smaller window of time to be dealing with it. That puts a little
and that's a good point, Sarah, because we're visualizing that this girl had 9 months to sit there and think about that, which is really closer to 10 months when you look at it. But I think that that's a good point, is that I think that it was later on, I think that she was further along in the pregnancy when she found out about it, and then she had the baby earlier. And so, that's right. I mean,
which that puts a different perspective on it, too, that if someone wasn't going to put a baby up for adoption, I was looking at it as she was so busy concealing that the pregnancy even happened that you were avoiding telling your parents or medical people what you did or want to do, not involving anybody. I find it fascinating that even if they're not trying to put a lot of weight on the text that she sent to her boyfriend the morning after the baby died, to me it's interesting how did a boyfriend not have awareness? So I wonder if he's going to be called to the
You know what? You brought something up that just my mind just went to this. Also on the eating disorder, if she had an eating disorder and she had lost, because most people that have an eating disorder binge or purge or whatever, and they lose a lot of weight. And so she may have just been gaining weight up to a normal weight. And so it may not have raised any kind of warning flag there either. Because, you think about you're going from a normal weight and then you start gaining weight, then you're going to notice that immediately. But if you're someone, if she was already 20 or 30 pounds underweight, and then that may have just got her to a normal weight for her, and I don't know that. I'm throwing that out there.
Like talking about everybody handles pregnancy different. But if you are trying to either binge or starve yourself or eat normal, generally a lot of women, when we're pregnant, there is a change in your appetite, what you want to eat, what you don't want to eat, how much. Or if you've struggled with always being a dieter, you might feel free to have that piece of chocolate cake. Or if you're like me, I have plenty on me, I don't need to gain any, so if I'm not craving chocolate cake, I'm not using it as an excuse.
See, I have a friend that with each of her pregnancies, she lost like this huge amount of weight because she tried to, eat more healthy and be more aware of what she was eating. And I was like, who does that happen to? I was so jealous.
I felt more hormonally balanced while pregnant. Life was good and easy and normal and great. So my fascination though is for anybody that she lived with or around her, if they would have noticed different eating habits regardless of any struggles, or even herself, an increase in, wanting your vitamin C, give me more fruit.
Well, with her not planning on keeping, with her not wanting the baby, I can't, it seems hard to think that would be what her mindset was, but we really don't know. But I do, I enjoy discussing this story with y'all, and it will be interesting for us to watch and see the conclusion of this trial. This is one of those stories and cases where I'm just not sure that there's a good ending, and my heart does go out to this family, and I also realize that the DA has a job to do, and so it will be interesting to see what comes of it. Thank y'all for listening and discussing it with me, ladies.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it. And with that, we are out of time for this week. So we're going to wrap it up and say goodbye to everybody. But first, I want to remind everybody, let's go to Crime Time on Facebook. Please go over there to Crime Time Facebook. You'll see pictures over there. Just go over where the photos are and click on it. You'll see everybody that we've been talking about. And we did a special bonus podcast on Crime Time. It's already up there on Andrea Nabel. And you want to hear all about that because she was a missing person now, and she used to search for missing people. So that's a really interesting story. We went all over about that one and talked about it in social media. So with that, we are out of here, and we'll see you guys when we see ya.
Bye. Guys. Thanks, ladies. See you next time.
Thank you.
The views expressed on this podcast are personal opinions only. While all attempts are made to present accurate information, it may not be appropriate for your specific circumstances, and information may become outdated over time. Crime Time Podcast does not assume any liability with regard to results based on the use of information provided here. Furthermore, advertisers, commentators, and linked sites are solely responsible for their views and content, which does not necessarily represent the views of Crime Time. We welcome you to download and play the podcast and share with others for personal use. Please acknowledge the Crime Time Podcast as the source of the material. You may not, except with our express written permission, distribute or commercially exploit the content. The information is provided by Crime Time Podcast. We endeavor to keep the information up to date and correct. We make no representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the website or the information, products, services, or related graphics contained on the website for any purpose. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. Thank you. And by all means, shove a few more words into these paragraphs so that I have to read complicated, comma-placed statements throughout an entire document and then try to record it in one take.